She already married someone else, man. Don't embarrass yourself, just leave. That's what the tall guy in a champagne sherwani said when I arrived, still smelling like disinfectant and adrenaline. My name is Ethan Walker, and 4 hours ago, I was kneeling on a trauma room floor, elbow deep in blood and fear, fighting to keep a 5-year-old boy alive. I was supposed to be at this meeting on time. On paper, it was just a conversation. In reality, it was my only chance to win her father's respect back. The last thread holding my future together. But fate has a way of bleeding into everything. The boy's chest had stopped moving when they wheeled him in. I did compressions until my arms ached. I shouted orders. I called him buddy and champ and whispered promises into his ear. I fought for him like he was mine. And when he stabilized, I sprinted out of the hospital without changing. My shirt was still damp when I reached the hotel. But I wasn't prepared for 20 people from the groom's side forming a wall in the corridor, guarding a door like it held royalty. You missed it, another voice said. She's married now. Move on. I didn't flinch. I'm not here to argue. I need 5 minutes. They laughed. A woman in pearls scoffed, you doctors always think you're important. I tried stepping forward. A shoulder shoved me back. And then I heard it, wheezing. A child's lungs struggling in real time, shallow and panicked. My eyes locked on a boy sitting on the carpet, clutching his chest. Same age. Same look. I dropped to my knees. Hey buddy, can you breathe? My stethoscope was still in my pocket. Someone call an ambulance. I yelled. No one moved. Then, as I pulled out my hospital badge to give paramedics the info, the groom's uncle squinted at my name. His lips parted. And in that instant I realized, he knew exactly whose child I had just saved. He didn't say a word, just stared at my badge like it had bitten him. I stood slowly, eyes locked on his. You recognize the name, don't you? His throat bobbed. Walker. Ethan Walker. The others began to murmur, but I didn't wait. I followed the EMTs as they wheeled the boy toward the elevator. The groom's uncle stepped aside, but barely. He looked like he'd seen a ghost walk through his family's party. The boy's mother was still sobbing. I handed off the emergency notes to the paramedic, then leaned in. He's going to make it. Just keep him calm. She nodded, trembling. As they disappeared into the elevator, I turned back toward the hallway. The corridor had gone dead quiet, like everyone knew something I didn't. The same uncle who blocked me now approached, slower this time, his posture careful. Where did you say you work? St. Luke's Pediatric Emergency. He winced, like that confirmed a fear he hadn't wanted to voice. You were on call today? I was the attending physician. Why? He didn't answer. Instead, a woman rushed toward him, whispering frantically in Urdu. Her voice cracked. Bachri ka naam Zayan the, wohi bacha the. The child's name was Zion. The man's eyes darted to mine, full of disbelief. The boy you saved, he's not just anyone. I folded my arms. Then who is he? He glanced behind him. Some of the groom's relatives were edging away now, as if distance might soften the fallout. Then he leaned in, voice nearly a whisper. He's the only son of the man who's marrying into this family. The reason this entire wedding happened. My stomach clenched. Before I could respond, the banquet doors burst open. Someone shouted my name. And standing right there in a red veil was her, eyes wide, mouth parted, and a wedding band still warm on her finger. She didn't know what I'd done. Not yet. She froze the second she saw me. Her hand went to her chest, reflex or regret I couldn't tell. The groom behind her turned, confused by the tension humming through the hallway. His smile faltered when he saw me. Then it vanished entirely when he noticed the blood on my sleeves. Ethan, she whispered. I didn't move. Hey Ava. Gasps fluttered through the corridor like dropped glass. Someone muttered, that's her ex. Another corrected them, no. That's the doctor who saved the boy. The groom's uncle, still pale, stepped forward and pulled Ava's father aside. They spoke in low, frantic tones. I didn't need to hear every word. The damage was already in motion. Ava walked toward me, slow and careful, like she was approaching something wild. You saved a boy today? She asked. Yeah, I said, voice flat. Zion. She blinked hard. Zion, as in? Your new husband's nephew. The boy everyone here ignored until he couldn't breathe. Her lips parted. You're lying. I pulled the boy's bracelet from my coat pocket, the hospital ID tag I forgot to hand off. It still had his name on it. She stared at it like it burned her. Behind her, the groom was stepping forward now, visibly irritated. Ava, is this the man who barged into the wedding? He's clearly trying to. He saved Zion's life. Her father cut in suddenly, eyes locked on mine. He's a trauma doctor. From St. Luke's. The groom paled. He wasn't barging in, Ava whispered, voice cracking. He was working. More relatives were gathering now, eyes flitting between me, Ava, and the groom. Whispers spread like wildfire. Her mother spoke next, louder than necessary. So, the man we humiliated? The one we told to leave? She turned toward me, hesitant. You saved our family's child? I nodded once. While you were busy throwing me out. Ava looked like she couldn't breathe. Then someone's phone buzzed. A video popped open on speaker. It was from the ambulance. Zion's mother, sobbing, thanking the doctor who saved her son. She said my name. Loud and clear. And then Ava's husband did the one thing that turned the whole tide. He cursed. At her. Loud enough for everyone to hear. The silence after that curse was surgical. He just exposed his temper, and worse, he did it in front of her entire family. Ava flinched. Her shoulders stiffened, her gaze shifting from me to him like she didn't recognize the man she just married. You're embarrassing yourself, he snapped, lowering his voice just enough to sound dangerous. Let it go. This isn't about him. No, she said, trembling. It is. Because everything I was told was a lie. I stood still, letting it unfold. I wasn't here to argue. I had already done what mattered. I saved a child. The rest? That was theirs to reckon with. Ava's father stepped between them. You disrespected my daughter. In public. At her wedding. The groom scowled. She disrespected me the second she brought him into this. I didn't bring him, she said coldly. He came because he saved a child's life. While we were busy pretending we were better than him. The murmurs grew louder. Faces shifted. Lines were being drawn. That's when the groom's uncle returned from a phone call, his expression pale. The boy's father just landed, he said gravely. He's demanding to speak to the man who saved his son. Personally. Everyone looked at me. I didn't flinch. Tell him I'm at the hotel. Room 318. I'll wait. Then I turned toward Ava, calm, steady. You married someone else. I respected that. But I saved your nephew because he deserved a chance to breathe. Not because I wanted this. She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. I know. As I walked toward the elevator, the groom muttered something behind me. Something sharp. Something cruel. But I only paused when I heard glass shatter. I turned around and saw Ava's wedding bangle cracked in half on the floor. The sound of that bangle cracking, it echoed louder than any scream. Ava stared at it, unmoving. The weight of the moment settling into her spine like steel. I didn't drop it, she whispered, not to me but to herself. Her mother stepped forward, face taut. It broke on its own. That's a sign. The groom rolled his eyes, but the tension in his jaw said he felt it too. I didn't speak. I just watched as Ava slowly pulled off the other bangle. Then the earrings. One by one, each piece of wedding gold was removed like armor being shed. It wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. You chose him, her husband hissed. You promised. She shook her head. I was cornered. Coerced. You all told me Ethan wasn't dependable, that he'd never show up when it mattered. She turned to me, voice trembling but clear. But you did. I exhaled slowly. I didn't come to prove anything, Ava. I came because I'm a doctor. That kid needed help. I know, she said almost in a whisper. And I needed to see who you really are. Then, from the side of the room, her father cleared his throat. We owe this man an apology. A public one. The groom snapped, this is ridiculous. He barged into our wedding. Your wedding ended the moment you cursed my daughter, her mother shot back. Before more words could be exchanged, a new voice pierced the room. A man in his 40s, wearing a navy suit and panic in his eyes. Where is he? He demanded. Where's the doctor who saved my son? I stepped forward. That would be me. Ethan Walker. He strode over and gripped my hand like it was a lifeline. Thank you. Whatever you need, anything. My son is breathing because of you. Then he looked around at the silent crowd and asked the one question that stopped everything. Why the hell were you standing outside? And every face turned toward the groom. The groom flinched like the question had hit him physically. I asked you something, the boy's father repeated, his voice calm, but beneath it, a thread of fury. Why was the doctor who saved my son blocked from entering? No one answered. He scanned the room. Was he trying to crash the wedding? No. Was he shouting, threatening, making a scene? He looked at me. Were you? I shook my head. Just asked to speak with someone. They told me I was too late. That she married someone else and I should disappear. Ava's mother spoke next. They formed a wall. Told him he wasn't welcome. Mocked him. Her voice cracked with guilt. We all did. The man turned to the groom, eyes narrowing. So you're the reason my son could have died in that hallway? The groom stammered. He had no business here. He had every business here, the man roared. He's the only reason my child is alive right now. The air tightened. You're a disgrace, he muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. A man who curses at his wife in public, lies about a doctor, and blocks someone who saves children. That's who you are. Then, without hesitation, he turned to Ava. If you want out of this marriage, I'll back you. She froze. The weight of the moment sank into her bones. Every eye was on her. She began. But her words caught in her throat as her husband's phone lit up. He picked it up, turned ghost white, and swore under his breath. What is it? Ava's mother asked. He looked up at all of us, like a man already drowning, and muttered. Someone leaked the ambulance video. It's viral. 500,000 views in 15 minutes. And that's when the notifications started lighting up everyone's phones. One by one, phones lit up like wildfire across the room. The groom grabbed his, scrolling with frantic fingers. His jaw locked. Who the hell recorded this? Didn't matter. The video was already everywhere. In it, you could hear Zion's mother sobbing. You could hear my voice, calm and steady. You could see the hotel hallway, the crowd doing nothing. And then, me kneeling beside the boy. His tiny chest rising again. My badge. My name. Comments had started flooding in already. They blocked a doctor from entering while a kid was dying? The groom's family looks like royalty, but acts like trash. Ethan Walker deserves a medal. Ava's father looked around the room, disgusted. This is what we built this marriage on? Ego and lies. Her mother added, what happens when that child grows up and sees this? The groom tried to salvage control. This is being blown out of proportion. You don't even know what. I do, Ava said. And this time her voice didn't shake. I know you lied to me about Ethan. I know you used my grief to manipulate me. I know you wanted status, not love. She looked over at me, her expression unreadable. And I know the man I was supposed to marry never once raised his voice at me. Not even when I left him standing outside. I didn't move. Ava turned back to the guests, then lifted her hand and took off the ring. No more, she said. I won't spend my life apologizing for someone else's cruelty. The groom lunged forward, but before he could speak, Zion's father stepped between us. You should go, he said. Before this gets worse. The groom's voice dropped to a growl. This isn't over. No, I said calmly. But your reputation is. He left in silence. No dramatic exit. No last words. Just the quiet shame of a man who watched his carefully curated empire collapse under the weight of one truth he couldn't control. Everyone saw who he really was. Zion's father turned to me again, extending his hand. You didn't just save my son. You exposed what none of us had the courage to face. I shook it, firm and steady. I wasn't looking to destroy anyone. Just wanted to do my job. Ava stepped closer. And you did. Even when we didn't deserve you. She looked different now. Not because the jewelry was gone or the veil was discarded, but because for the first time in years her voice sounded like her own. I spent so long believing what they said about you. That you weren't reliable, weren't good enough, weren't serious about me. She exhaled. But when everything fell apart, the only one who showed up was you. I let the silence hold, then said, people see what they want to see. Until life forces them to look closer. Her mother approached me, guilt etched into every line on her face. I judged you for not being from a rich family. For not showing up when we wanted you to, but today you showed us exactly who you are. I didn't do it for approval, I said. I did it because I couldn't walk past a child who couldn't breathe. Her father nodded. That's why we were wrong. Later that night, the groom's family tried to spin the story online. But the truth was louder. The video had crossed 5 million views. Ava gave a public statement. Zion recovered fully. And the board at my hospital called to say the boy's father had anonymously funded a pediatric wing in my name. I never chased revenge. I just kept walking the right road while others tried shortcuts. And that's how, without raising my voice, I ended up with the one thing they could never take back.